are bright and shiny in my mind. You got me loving, hating, crazy indecision in my mind.
Welcome to the Fall Podcast, where the focus is on deer hunting, tips, tricks, tactics, and stories from across the Midwest. And now, here is your host, Aaron Blasey.
Welcome to the Fall Podcast. I am your host, Aaron Blasey, and this is episode number 12. And today on the podcast, I am joined by the owner of Wild Edge Inc., and his name is Drew Walter. Now, for anybody who has never heard of Wild Edge, it's a company that provides a lot of different products, but their flagship product is called the Steppladder by Wild Edge. Now, this is the ultimate climbing system. It's legal for use on all state and public land. It's just a great way to get in the tree. Now, a lot of these guys are using their tree saddles and hunting on state land and running gun guys that are, putting a hang on in the tree. It's great to use because on state lands just about all around the country, you can't use screw-in steps or you can't really harm the tree in any way. And a lot of guys don't really want to bring in ladder stands, and they don't even want to bring in ladder sticks, because it's heavy and they're loud. So Drew has come up with a product called the Steppladder, like I said. These things are unlike anything I've ever seen. In the next hour or so, you're going to find out what this product's all about, but I really encourage everybody to go to wildedgeinc.com and really look at these. You can go to YouTube as well. He's got a YouTube channel, and this product's just really cool, and don't judge it before you try it, because that's kind of what I did. Now I have a set now, and I've been using them in the yard here and practicing with them. I've got a set of 10 now. He has a lot of different sets. I've got a set of 10, which gets you about 18 to 20 feet. And I'll tell you, for the first time I used them, I got about 18 feet in about 12 minutes. And it's unbelievable how quiet they are, how easy they are to pack in the backwoods, or even on private land, wherever you want to go. So I highly encourage you guys to check these out after you listen to the podcast and try them out for yourself as well, because they're really cool. They're not just for the running gun guy either. I mean, you could use these on all your sets as well. And even if you didn't want to leave your sticks in the tree, they're easy to take down on the way down as well. And you can just keep moving, even having set stands all over your woods. So that's really this podcast in a nutshell. So I'm going to get Andrew on here, and I'm going to let him take it from here. And we're back on the Fall Podcast for another episode 12 to be exact. And today I have Drew Walter from Wild Edge Inc. on, and it's pretty cool. He's got a product that I really am intrigued by, and I really want everybody to know about. So without further ado, Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, this new product, or I shouldn't say new, maybe it is new to me anyway. I saw this not too long ago, and I'm like, I really got to figure stuff out about this. And because I kind of want to get into the more run and gun kind of setup, and even if it's on private and public, and I think your product is going to be the ticket that I'm looking for.
Yeah, just trying to make mobile hunting great again.
For sure, man. Before I go any farther, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but can you give a brief little intro on yourself, where you're from and a little bit about your business, how old you are, and kind of how you got into this business?
All right. My name's Andrew Walter. Everyone calls me Drew. I'm the owner and president of Wild Edge Incorporated. It's actually began a long time ago. I grew up in a small town, East Haddam, Connecticut, and rural town, and I grew up hunting with the actual inventor of the steps ever since I was a 14-year-old kid. His name was Jim Stepp, and he had lost his leg in Vietnam, so the steps were invented out of necessity. Jim was an inventor and a welder, so he invented them because he needed a way to get his prosthetic leg on both feet onto one step and then get his good leg up, so basically climbing one leg at a time opposed to alternate steps. So Jim invented them years and years ago, and him and I have been hunting together forever, and he was basically selling them back in the day before the internet. So when I got out of the Army, and I was traveling a lot for work doing suburban deer management as a sharpshooter, so when I kind of wanted to settle down, stay closer to home, Jim gave me an opportunity to bring the steps back to life. So that's how Wild Edge was created, and kind of went from there. And we've been in business for 3 years now. And that's about it. Just really focusing on, the new, basically run and gun. I've been doing it forever, but so popular now where, that's really our niche is saddle hunters. And, the steps can be used for anything, but that's kind of how we started.
So Jim came up with this design, and he's only got one good leg, so he actually climbs trees with this system with one good leg.
Oh yeah, he's almost 80 years old now, and he's still climbing and hunting with me.
That's unbelievable. Now, anybody that's listening, you guys got to go look at this while you're listening to this. Go to wildedgeinc.com and check out the Stepladder set. Now, Drew, can you kind of paint a picture for the listeners that have never seen this? What does this system look like?
Okay, so the steps, they come in all different size sets, but basically you can go on. So our basic sets are 8, 10, 12, or 16 steps. They're individual steps. So picture a ladder system. They're triangular shaped steps. They have 3 points of contact with a rope that goes around the tree. It's polypropylene rope. And the whole point of the step is it's a camming system. So the step locks onto the tree, you tie a simple loop, and you create the tension with that loop. And as you pull that step up above the rope that's going around the tree, you cam it over, and you go over center and you cam it, and it locks right to the tree. We've hung 4-wheelers from the steps. We've hung 3,000-pound tractor, picked up hook body dumpsters. We have just destroyed them, and they're just wicked strong. They lock onto the tree, which is perfect for any kind of climbing, especially saddle hunting when you're creating your platform to put your feet on, because you can put side pressure on the steps. You can stick your heel in the steps. They're wicked solid, and another big advantage, they're compact. So the carry bag they come in, they're stacked inside the bag. You can turn the bag upside down; they're not going to fall out. And as you're climbing, you get to the tree, you pull the ropes out of the bag, and each step is right there in the sleeve over your shoulder, right at your hip. So as you're climbing, you're tied in with a line, and that's holding you to the tree. Both feet are on the step. Both heels are on the step as you're climbing. Both your hands are free due to your line. And as you're climbing, one step comes out of time, and they're so compact. Each step weighs just about 15 ounces. But as you're climbing, we say you design your climb. If you want to put the steps alternate, you put them alternate. If you want to put them straight up in a ladder, which I like to do, so in the dark, I could just know that step is going to be right above my head, and I just climb. If you start your climb at the bottom of the tree one way. If you want to get to the other side of the tree, you just uncam that step and swing it around the tree and block it down. So very versatile. It's not a product that you're going to take out of the box and just be an expert on. You really got to, get the hang of it. And there's a lot of techniques that come with it, but that's nothing to be intimidated by. Once you get it, it's wicked simple.
So each step, now they're individual steps. There's 3 points of contact, you were saying. Now
right.
there's a cross member that's essentially your step, correct?
Right. Correct.
So the 2 points of contact that are on the top of the step that actually go into the tree, you can step on those as well, right?
Right. Yeah, those are called the standoffs, and they have they have sharp notches in them. So that's what's digging into the tree. And then once you cam it over, you're coming above the rope, and then that bottom pick hits the tree. So, really it's being sucked into the tree. And so when both feet are on the step as you're climbing, as you're putting up the steps, both your heels are on each of the rungs. So you're kind of, your toes are both pointed, at a 45-degree angle on against the tree. So it's, it's and as you're climbing, you can step on them any which way you want. Some people like alternate, so they're stepping on the side of the step, just like a stick. So every other step. And some guys like I do to put them in a straight ladder.
Okay. Now, see, I've used rapid rails before, and the thing with rapid rails is there is some trees that you can get them pretty rock solid, but if you're kind of leaning off to one side, every set of rapid rails I've ever had will always swing on you. Now, these ones won't swing at all, right?
No, if you get them locked onto the tree, they're not going anywhere. I mean, at the trade shows, I put an additional, so I bring a telephone pole on the stand, and I put an additional piece of pole that's going off at a 45-degree angle, and I'll snap a step onto there, and I'll step on that thing, and I'll hang from it. So, if the tree's going at a 45, you can snap a step onto it. You can put it onto any tree and any angle. So that's the beauty of it. It's not going to slip. And even if it was too loose and it did slip, it's still not going to go anywhere. It's going to dig into the tree and just slide down, but it's not going to come off the tree.
Right. Now, if have you or any of your clients, people that have bought them, have they found any instances where these steps they've had a really hard time not getting them in any tree, or have they found a situation where they just can't get them in it?
I get those calls all the time, but every once in a while, and after explaining it even over the phone for 10 minutes or directing them to a YouTube video, it all of a sudden clicks to them. So if they can't get it on there tight, then they're doing something wrong. That's the biggest thing.
Okay. Now, in the way you tie it to the tree, basically, it's not a knot, correct? It's just what is that type of loop that you're doing?
We call it a loop. So it's split. The rope is spliced onto one end. So the rope goes around the tree. You put the step against the tree. You go through the triangular part of the step. You go around through the rope and the standoff, and you make a loop. Then you take that tail on the rope, feed it through the loop, and then that's where your adjustment is. So you find your adjustment, pull a step up. If it's too tight and you can't cam it over, you just take the tension off the step. You push a tiny bit out, so 1/8 of an inch of rope is going to be enough. It's just a tiny bit of adjustment. The beauty of that rope is it slides, so it's not like a normal nylon rope that's going to bind on itself. And loop works is so it doesn't bind on itself and is easily adjustable.
Okay.
And if it's too tight or if it's too loose, you just wiggle a little bit of slack out of it and then pull it up, and you'll be able to feel where it's about to go over. So when I'm climbing, I always put my next step up, at my head or above my head, so that when I cam it up, I would literally just drop my body weight right into it and snap it to the tree.
Okay.
So it's, the more I tell guys, sometimes you got to put a little testosterone into it. If it's an oak with big, thick bark, you got to, put a little more nut into it. Same thing if it's a beech tree, it's going to snap onto there a lot easier than, a soft pine. Soft pine, you're going to have to really dig into that bark, and you might have to cam it over, and then you'll see that it might be a little loose, flip it up again, take a little bit of slack out of the rope, and then slam it over again, and you should be good. So it's, sometimes it just takes a little finesse, but once you get the hang of it. So when I'm doing a mobile setup and I'm running and gunning, I'm not worried about getting them super tight, because I'm going to start at the bottom of the tree. I'm going to work my way up the tree, get set up in my saddle. And then when I'm done hunting, I'm going to take it down. So I'm not going to be climbing up and down 100 times. If I'm leaving it set all season long, I'll take a little more time, and I'll make sure they're, as tight as possible, because I know family and friends are going to be climbing them and they're going to be there all season. So,
yeah. So essentially, when you're climbing, it's not a knot. So if you don't get it right on the first time, you're not sitting there for 5 minutes trying to get the knot back out. So it's more of a loop. It's kind of like the way I kind of picture it, and it's like, how a pressic knot, like it kind of goes loose and tight. Like it's kind of maybe like that. You're not fiddling around with it. Is that right? Yeah.
If you don't do the knot right, then it's not going to work. So you can't. So say, for instance, if you don't go between the rope and the rung when you're coming through and going down into the loop, if you go under the rope, you're going to pinch that rope against the rung and you will not be able to adjust it. So you did it wrong. And also the actual loop for the logo for the Steppladder is screen printed on your carry bag. So if you're ever questioning it, you just flip your bag over, which is on your hip, and you have a memory of how it works right there. But I tell customers, you're not going to take it out of the box and become an expert. So take them out into the backyard, slap them onto a tree, play with them, put them on a couple different trees, so that when you go into the woods, you're not sitting there, trying to figure it out. So it's, but once you get it, I was putting up tree stands with the steps when I was 14. So if a 14-year-old kid can do it, I'm sure anyone can.
Now explain these ropes to me a little bit more. What are the ropes made out of? Like, explain that.
It's pure polypropylene. It's a custom rope we get from a company down in North Carolina, and it's made for the Steppladder. It's a braided polypropylene, hollow braid, 2,800 pound tensile strength, and the rope is awesome. I use it for everything, from duck boats to dog leashes, anchor line. I mean, you name it, I use it because it doesn't soak up water. It's not going to hold water. It's not going to mold. Picture a nylon rope that's on your boat. It's always slimy, nasty, and disgusting. The Steppladder rope floats. It's not going to hold moisture. Squirrels and mice have no interest in chewing it. And it's just wicked strong. So once you snap that step on for the first time, it's not gonna stretch. So your steps aren't gonna get loose. And it's wicked durable. UV resistant. I mean, the rope is the key to the step, really.
So literally you could leave these steps up for many years in a tree all year long and they're never going to wear.
Yeah, Jim at his house in Maine has a step that's been on a tree for over 12 years on a pine tree. You can't even see the rope. The tree grew around it. I've had steps that I've forgotten about that have been in trees in a beech tree for 7 or 8 years. And, I had to basically cut the rope off to get the step off. Some of them I was able to pop up and actually get them off, but they're indestructible.
That's cool. Now, where do you manufacture these at? Are you doing it yourself, or is it an overseas thing, or is this a US all US?
Yep, it's US. We started. The reason it took us so long to start the business was, I actually put an addition onto my shop I put in a welding shop addition onto my shop. I rented a space and realized that I need an actual welding shop. So the vision was to have a whole manufacturing facility all the way from bending the metal to powder coating. So I started there and built the shop in 2015 and started making the steps and realized I really could not keep up. And then, trying to find someone to invest in the company, in the vision of having, a $30,000 powder coating booth and everything from start to finish was almost impossible. So finally found a company in Ohio where I started that was making everything for me. And now we're all over the country, really. Our products from North Carolina to Ohio to Canada. We're getting basically our products from all over the place, but everything comes back here to the shop, and we are, we're handling all the ropes. We're splicing the ropes onto the steps. We're packaging everything. We're making the lineman's lines. We're making the safety lines. We're making, every product is finished here.
Okay. Now, who's your target audience on this? Like, who's all the guys, men and women, that are buying this? Like, are they run and gun people that are on strictly public land, or do you have guys that are using it literally for, like, anybody would use a, set of sticks to go up any set stand?
It ranges all over the place. I mean, I just shipped a massive order to Malaysia. It was 160 pounds worth of product to Malaysia. And these guys were using the steps to climb some kind of tree to harvest the seeds. So, you go from there, but, my target market really is the serious hunters, public land, run and gun public land, saddle hunters, and then all the way from, the older men. I mean, I sell more product to 50 to 70-year-old men than I do kids. So women at trade shows, once they see the steps, they look at their husband and, it's like they want to use a step ladder, not his screw-in pegs or his stick. So, it ranges, but I'd say the target is definitely the serious hunter, especially public land. That's, actually seriously hunting and covering distance and wants a lightweight, compact setup.
Yeah, and I kind of briefly talked to you about it off recording on a phone call a couple days ago that, I used to hunt in a saddle. I spent 3 seasons in a saddle, and I kind of struggled with it, and I don't know if that was from me not practicing with it enough. But it was great. It's comfortable. It's just something new to get used to. And, last couple seasons I've been thinking about doing more run and gun. And I really don't want to use a climber. I don't want the clunkiness. I want to be smaller, compact in a way. And then when I saw these, I was like, this is what I need, because I don't want to use screw-ins, because our family farm, my uncle, he uses that farm for logging. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'll do select cutting and everything, and he doesn't want screw-ins on him. So I'm like, man, this is the ticket right here. And even on my set stands, I'm going to use some of these on my set stands as well. And like you said, you can leave them up, and they're really small and compact. And I also talked to you about, what I do for a living. I'm with Casey and filming him all the time. Him and I wouldn't call it run and gun, but we like to sit back and observe things and then move in and get aggressive once we get some intel on deer. And when we do that, we'll do what we call a hang and bang. So we'll take 2 Millenniums in, and then we'll take either rapid rails or, Millennium sticks, and then we'll sit it and hunt it. But I showed him these, and he's like, we have to get a hold of this guy. Like, this is what we need because it's so small, compact, quiet. We can get in, get to stand up in no time and be hunting, So
Right.
he was intrigued by it too, and that's why I just needed to get a hold of you. I wanted to know more about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to bash any other system, but me personally, I just look at the videos of the guys that are using the sticks on a run and gun setup. They have 550 cord attached to every stick that's on the ground. They're pulling one up at a time. It's like, to me, I like simplicity. At the same time, when I'm setting a stand, I'm I think of myself, I'm hunting. I'm not setting a stand. I'm actually hunting. If
Yep.
I'm mobily hunting. So to have all that metal on metal in a stack of sticks, to me, is just, I just couldn't do it. The steps are just right there on your side. And, it's not like I'm biased just because I own the company. I've been using these. I was using these for 20 years before I even had a thought of starting this company. So,
Yeah.
it's just to have them right there. And then once you get into saddle hunting, I mean, now that I've been saddle hunting, I look at tree stands. I'm like, that is so stupid. Like, same thing. It's like, how do you carry these massive hunks of metal into the woods and, try to be quiet? So you're walking in, especially you guys with all your camera equipment. I mean, your saddle's around your waist, your set of steps is around your shoulder, your backpack's on your back, and your bow's on your backpack. And
Yeah.
you get to the tree, your saddle is now your lineman belt. Your saddle is your safety harness, which then turns into essentially your tree stand. So you never have to go back down to the ground.
Right. And even this year for filming, I don't know if you've ever seen the Primos bow hunting vest that they made.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like the safety harness vest, but it's basically a bag that is just a vest. Now,
Right.
I'm like, I looked at it last year and I'm like, gosh dang, like that'd be perfect for filming, for batteries, cards, stuff like that. So I'm even trying to eliminate my bag in a way just to make my life a little easier. Put that vest on, and I'll have everything I need at a little zipper on me somewhere. It's got a ton of pockets in it. So even when I'm hunting, that's my bag. I'm not going to take a bag in. I'm going to if it's a saddle, I'm going to put a saddle on. I'm going to have that,
Right.
the steps over my shoulder, and I'm wearing my bag. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So in your saddle, if you're saddle hunting, that is your safety harness as well.
Right.
So,
And, it's safer than tree stands. And, to me, it just makes so much sense that, and once you start saddle hunting, which you have in the past, everything becomes so custom. So no guy that saddle hunts really hunts the same way. So,
Yep.
everything down to your rope system, down to as simple as where you put your grunt call and where you put your phone, everything
Right.
becomes so custom because once the saddle's around your waist, the only disadvantage is you're losing your pockets. So,
Yep.
cargo pockets are essential. Like the binocular little cases they have for your chest. Those are becoming big in saddle hunting, like Alaska Guide Service or whatever that company is that makes that one.
There's S4 gear, and there's a couple of them that make
Yeah,
them.
so a lot of guys are using those instead of for binoculars for anything you need while you're hunting out of a saddle. A lot of times I'll take my setup is my backpack comes off my back and then snaps onto a step down by my knees, and I keep my backpack open so my rangefinder's right there, my grunt call's right there. So everything, it's really fun because everything becomes so custom, and once you get your setup, you're always changing it, trying to make it easier, more, a lot more simple. So it's fun.
Yeah, and with the saddles, like I was telling you earlier, my wife also had a saddle as well, and she's not the most fond with heights. So even my set stands, I really have to make sure that they're very accessible and to get in. Me, I'm a monkey. I'll climb wherever. It doesn't bother me at all. So I really got to kind of make sure my setups are rock solid. But when we got the saddles, that took her fear of heights completely out. Like,
Right.
she loved it in the fact that she was facing the tree at all times, and she just felt safer for some reason. I'm like, that kind of made me think. I'm like, I thought that'd be kind of like worse for her, but she really liked it. So, but like I said, we hunted with them for 3 years, and I don't think I practiced enough with it. It was a trophy line tree saddle. I actually got it from John Eberhart, and you know, I was just having trouble killing deer out of it. I think it's because I didn't shoot out of it enough. I was missing high every time. Every opportunity I had, I would miss high, and then finally I was like, I got to get back doing what I was doing, and then I started killing more deer, and then I just haven't went back. But now, New Tribe is a company, Tethered, that you've been telling me about, and I'm starting to look more into these, and they're a little more refined than that trophy line was, and I kind of want to get my hands on it and try it again.
Yeah, the new ones are the new ones are night and day from the older ones. You have some guys that are still stuck on saying the trophy line is the best saddle that's ever invented, along with the Anderson. But a lot of those guys have also converted to the Kestrel or the new Kite, and by Arrow Hunter, and they love them. So it's like you said, it's a lot. You feel a lot more secure and safer than tree stand, because as you're climbing up, you have your lineman's belt, your line around the tree. So you're using that. You're tied into the tree. Once you get to the top, your line is still around the tree. You tie in with your sling line, and then you attach that to your bridge, take off your linesman line, and now you're still connected. So it's and back to like your wife climbing with the steps. The beauty is you can put those steps as close as you want for her,
Right.
to climb up. So when I'm setting stands for family and friends that I know are going to hunt that tree, I put them really close. If I'm doing a mobile set, I'm like you, I'm a monkey, so I'm going to space them sometimes 4 feet apart.
I see. Yeah, and I'm looking at your website right now, and you were talking about putting them closer together and everything. So you have like 4 different sets. Like you can get a set with 8, 10, 12, or 16 steps, right?
Correct. Yeah, we also have those were the basic sets. When Jim started, it was 8, 10, and 12. Then I came out with a set of 16, and that evolved into making longer ropes for guys. So I was doing custom rope orders, and then I offered the 8-foot ropes. And then, we had so many guys wanting different setups that the best thing we ever did was the build your own section. So, you can go on there and say you want a 12 bag with, 6 8-foot ropes and 4 6-foot ropes, or whatever the combination is that you want. You can make it. So, the 8-foot ropes are great for some guys climb a whole entire tree with 8-foot ropes. I usually try to stick with the 6-foot ropes because it's easier to set up. You can reach your arms around and grab the step. 8-foot ropes are great for like the base of a tree, where it's a lot bigger, or if you have a tree that's split, so the base is massive and it splits into 2 leaders. I always carry, if I'm going in blind to set up a set, I'll carry 2 or 3 8-foot ropes, the rest 6-foot. So it's we got to the point where you can build a package to whatever suits you best.
Okay, that's really cool how, you could have a tree that you hunt every year, and you have to do it special with, 6 foot, like you said, and then maybe 4 of them have to be 8 foot, and then maybe 2 of them have to be 10 footers, and you could build it just like that. That's awesome.
Yep.
So let's move on a little bit to the accessories that you guys provide for everybody. So you have a safety line and connector. Now is that like a safety line with a pressic knot on it for, any conventional tree stand that people use?
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's a 30-foot line that you can basically attach from the top of the tree to the bottom, and you have the prusik on it with a carabiner. So as you're climbing, you attach that to your safety harness or your saddle bridge, and you slide that prusik up as you go. And if you fall, you're not going anywhere. It's going to catch you.
Okay. And then you offer a lineman's line, which, if anybody doesn't know what a lineman's line is, it's attached to either your saddle or safety harness, and it's what you throw around the tree to be able to be hands-free, right?
Right, correct. And it's essential for the step ladder because you need both hands to put the step on the tree. So
Okay.
we have those in 7-foot or 9-foot lines.
Okay. And then the next one, the Stepladder Aider. Now, what is this? I don't know if I've seen this.
That's something Jim and I came up with a couple of years ago. So I'm involved with saddlehunterforum.com. Anyone is interested in saddle hunting, it's a great place to go. You learn a ton. these guys are all wicked knowledgeable. I call them deer nuts. Great guys, no one's bashing anyone. It's not that kind of forum. It's just really informative. So they were all talking about aiders for climbing sticks. And then they were mentioning to me I should come up with an aider. So, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, what in the hell are they talking about aider? So, I started looking into it. And then, Jim and I were in the shop one day and it really just clicked. So it's an adjustable step to aid you to the next step. So in a run and gun situation, when you're blasting into the woods and you want to put up a quick set, opposed to using a set of 12 to get you 20, 24 feet, you can now use a set of 8 because you're essentially skipping every other step. So my method is, it's the same. The aider is the same rope as a step ladder, and it's basically picture a Chinese finger trap. So it's a fully adjustable loop with a hook on it. My first step goes at the level of my chest. My next step goes as high as I can reach. So snap those 2 steps to the tree. Take the aider, hook it to the bottom pick end of the step, and then now slide it open. So as long as it'll go, put your foot in it, and really you just pull down on the tail end, you cinch your foot up. So you're basically picking your foot up so that you can step to that first step, which was at the level of your chest. And then from there on, you keep leapfrogging up the tree. So you're cutting your weight in half.
Okay, so it's essentially another step too. That's
correct,
right? Okay.
Yep. And it works awesome as a deer drag too.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of those run and gun guys, I mean, they're going deep in the woods where, in the swamps and everything, and you're like, how the hell am I going to get a deer out of here after you kill one? And it's like, hook it on the back of your saddle or your safety harness and start pulling.
That's how I really got into saddle hunting. Is I started hunting islands and peninsulas on the Connecticut River where I was accessing with a kayak. So I was always hunting on the ground when I was a kid, and then once I got into saddle hunting, it really clicked. I was like, I need to get above. It's so thick in there. I need to get above the brush so I can actually have shots. So I can't bring a tree stand in on a kayak with it'd just be too much and be too loud. So now with the saddle, a little set of steps in the aider, I'll take 6 or 8 steps in. And the aider, my saddle's already around my waist. I wear it in my kayak. All I'm doing is grab my bow and my backpack off my kayak and a set of steps, and I'm in the woods and I'm going. So
yeah, so you're going pretty light and pretty, not a lot of stuff on you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as concerned with weight. Lightweight is great, but my biggest thing is always simplicity. So I want my setup to be so simple that I can put more effort into the hunt than setting up my stand. I don't want my stand to be so much effort that I get lazy. When you get lazy, you lose opportunities. And, simplicity was really my main goal for any product that I ever developed.
Okay. I get that. And, when you talk about when you get lazy is when you let your guard down and you might even get hurt. So you want to be on top of doing everything you want to be on the ball with what you're doing.
Exactly.
So next, moving on, what is the sling line?
Sling line is it's just another variation of the linesman line for attaching your bridge. So the advantage of it is it has a figure 8 on it, a bigger loop. So as you get when you get to the top tree where you want to tie in with your saddle, you throw it around the tree, feed the other end through the bigger loop, and then it has a Blake's hitch on it. The Blake's hitch is good. It's better than the Prusik because the Prusik, as you put more pressure on it, sometimes it binds up so tight when you're hanging from your sling that it's hard to adjust. So the advantage of the Blake's hitch is it takes less, it won't bind up as hard. So it's fully adjustable. So when you're hanging out of a saddle, you're constantly adjusting how far you are away from the tree if you're sitting for a longer time. So any little adjustment creates a total different comfort level. So if your hips are getting sore, sometimes you come closer to the tree, sometimes you go farther away. So it's just easier to adjust.
Okay. Now, the next thing is the step hanger. Now, I really like this. It's a bow hanger that you can use on state land, any public land, because you're not screwing anything into the tree. Now, explain to me kind of where you had this idea and where it came from.
Really, it was just messing around my welding shop. I was trying to figure out a way because, you're hunting on public land. Like you said, you can't screw a step in the tree. So if you can't do that, you can't screw a bow hanger into a tree. So, I just had so many prototypes and just messed around for a long time, and finally figured out a way to, it's basically, picture like a T with a swivel at the end. Picture a normal real tree bow hanger, but at the end of it, instead of having a screw that screws into the tree, you have a T. So that T goes in between, you slide it in between the rope and the standoff of the step on one side, and then back into the other side. And then it rests on the rung. So when I get up into the tree, that my bow hanger is always in my pocket, in one of my cargo pockets, or it's, slid into my saddle belt or any belt. Get to the top of a tree. I always have a step up there. I slide it right into there, take my backpack off. My bow gets hung up. That step is also for my camera arm. My camera arm goes under the rope of the step. Step secures the camera arm to the tree. So, it all became a system. And once I tweaked it and made all my jigs and everything, started selling them, and we sell a lot of them.
I was gonna say a lot of guys are probably buying, probably 5-6 of them a year, probably.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can leave them in the tree, or you can take them in and out with you. And I customize a lot of mine too. I'll wrap them with 550 cord to make them tighter and quieter. I'll rubberize coat them. So there's always some kind of way to customize them. But yeah, it works awesome. And you can use it as a gun rest, really anything. It's it's 1/2-inch tube. It's made out of the same material as a step.
Okay. So now moving on to the packages. Now you offer 3 different packages, I believe.
Correct.
You've got a run and gun package. What goes into the run and gun package?
The run and gun package is either a set of 10 or 12, and it comes with an aider and linesman line.
Okay. And then so that'll get you started for basically whatever you want, just to get run and gunning.
Exactly. The only thing you're really missing is a saddle.
Okay. And then the next one's the ultimate climb package. What is this? Everything you offer, or what's in this one?
Yeah, it's pretty much everything in the box. I mean, it's a set of 12, and you get a 30-foot safety line with it, a linesman line, and a bow hanger. So it's basically everything all in one.
Okay. And then lastly, you have a base package, which is a larger base. Is that for bigger trees? Is that what that is?
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the packages that I always, basically every package I came up with is any variation of something that I would pack up and take into the woods. So that set right there has 3 8-foot ropes on it and 9 6-foot ropes. So a set of 12. And the thought of it is, if you're going in to set up a set, I always think of it as like early season. You're going to set a stand that's going to stay. And you don't know what tree you're going to pick. So a lot of times, like I said, you get to a tree that has a larger base and you need a little extra rope on it. So those 8-foot ropes are right on top of the stack. So as you get up to the tree, you have that extra length if you have a tree that's bigger at the bottom.
Okay. That makes sense for sure. Okay, well, it looks like, am I missing anything? Do you have anything else that you guys are offering, or anything that you're, coming out with that maybe we can let everybody know?
Yeah, we've been dabbling with a couple prototypes on a platform for saddle hunting. I use the steps as a platform, but there are a lot of guys that want a bigger platform for saddle hunting. Just the only thing is, there's a big misconception where guys that are starting in saddle hunting, they think you need a big platform. So a lot of guys would use the old XOP replacement seats, and they'd basically modify them into a platform for saddle hunting. But the big misconception is that you stand on it. You don't really stand on it when you're saddle hunting. It's basically, platform is just for a footrest. Your body weight isn't standing on the platform. So I've had a lot of interest in guys wanting me to make one. So I've been dabbling in that. That could come out in the next year or so. And then also my camera arms I make, those are getting finalized into, going into production. Then we have little simple things, the gear hook hanger. It's basically just a hook with a double fisherman's loop on it that you feed through the step, loop through itself, and you can hang your backpack from it. And we have some apparel, but that's basically the gist of it.
You briefly mentioned your camera arm. Now, the last 2 years, a lot of the camera arms, you got your Muddies and your Fourth Arrows and companies like that, but a lot of them kind of go by the wayside because it's not a big industry. I don't know. I would like to see what your camera arm, what that is, but I'm trying to picture my my design, because I want to go small with it, but it still hold like the bigger cameras. And I feel like with your steps, that might be a good way, because the biggest thing is trying to find it how you're going to hook it onto the tree as well.
That's the thing. That basically comes down to, it's another invention that my main goal is simplicity. So when I got into self-filming, I was like, looking at all the camera arms, forked arrow arm, the muddy arm. My buddy had the muddy camera arm. That freaking thing weighed a ton. And then you had an extra strap you had to carry for it. And it was loud and it was big. And it's like, I am not going to carry all this stuff with me. So just mess around in the shop. I made a whole aluminum camera arm that's basically, it's only a foot long, but it has 3 sections. So you have 3 feet of camera arm that all swivels out and basically has another T at the end with spikes on it. And you put it against a tree. So you have your step on the other side of the tree. So you put it between the rope and the tree, you cam that step down and it sucks it right to the tree. And that thing's so sturdy, you could hang on it. And it's aluminum, so it's wicked light. So I already have the steps, and that step on the other side of the tree has my bow hanger on it. My bow's hanging there. My backpack's also hanging off that step. So it all created one big, one step is holding 3 different things. So that's where it all came from. And, I've made a couple for a few buddies and a couple for customers. And it's just one of those things where, I can make them, but it all comes down to, is it making you money?
Exactly. So, yep. Yeah. And like I said, it's not a big demand out there for it. So it's like, how much money do you really want to wrap up into it if are you going to get anything back out of it?
Exactly. That's the thing. I can make anything and sell anything, but it all comes down to actually putting it into production is the biggest thing.
Yeah. So let's transition, here real quick. I want to pick your brain about saddle hunting, and you've been doing it for a while, and I know you just got a new saddle in the shop today. Tell us a little bit about that, what it is, and kind of give everybody the 30,000 foot view of what saddle hunting is.
Yeah. So it's, today I got the newest saddle from Arrow Hunter, and it's called the Kite. And so last year's model from the Arrow Hunter was the Kestrel, and it was unbelievable, because before that they had the Evolution. The Evolution just had kind of too much on it. It had too much arborist parts to it, and kind of stuff that you didn't need for hunting out of a saddle. They redefined that into the Kestrel, which was so simple. So instead of having to step through the saddle to put it on, it had 3 buckles, 1 around your waist and 2 between your legs. You snap that on, you're ready to go. And the seat was actual, like a solid, Cordura canvas seat. And, in early season, that gets a little hot. So they redeveloped that into the Kite, which is a full mesh seat. So you have, it's breathable, has kind of the same components. But the thing I didn't like about the Kestrel is it had those big buckles around your hip and around your legs. They turned those into a lot smaller buckles, because it came down to something as simple as as you're walking into the woods and anywhere I'm hunting, it's so thick that, you're carrying your bow in front of your face to try to get in between the brush. And my cam kept hitting that buckle, and it was dinging. And no matter what you do to try to quiet it down, it wasn't working. So this year with the Kite, they came out with a lot smaller buckle, which is wicked tiny. It goes through your legs, and then the buckle around your waist is a lot smaller too. The bridge is basically the same. Their sling line is really cool. It has kind of a double prusik on it for safety. They did a great job coming out with the Kite. It's awesome. I sat in it out in the shop on the pole for a while this morning, tinkering with it, and I love it. It's a little bit more comfortable than the Kestrel. Not a lot, but it's definitely a really cool saddle.
So I'm looking at a picture of it, and it looks like it's got a lot of adjustability onto the leg straps and everything. It looks like it's pretty comfortable, and that mesh looks like, from the saddle I had from the trophy line, it looks like, obviously, I was hunting out of that like 7 years ago. They've came a long way.
Oh yeah.
From that to this now. And so for everybody that's wondering what a bridge is on a saddle, the bridge is the part that hooks you to the tree, correct?
Correct. Kind of. The bridge is, so basically anyone that doesn't know what a saddle is, look it up on the internet. But if you can't, picture a climbing harness with your D rings on your hips. So the saddle is basically it's a piece of cloth, piece of canvas that goes around your ass. You have on your hips, you have your linesman loops, which are farther back, like right on your hips. And then you have your bridge loops, which are kind of more towards the center of you. That has a rope that's attached to each loop, right and left. That then attaches to a carabiner to an additional line that's around the tree. So you use your linesman line to get up to your platform where you're going to hunt. You clip in your sling line that attaches to your bridge. You then unclip your linesman line, and now you're hanging from the tree, opposed to, being held away from it.
Yep, I got you. Now, if anybody, I'll put some links in the show notes to your, to the Stepladder steps and your website, and to maybe the Arrow Hunter and the tethered one in the new tribe, so everybody can kind of see what the saddles and what your products are as well. Awesome.
Yeah, it's the mesh is also, it comes down to the simple things as a lot of times, I'm hunting in Carhartts or, just normal pants and old army pants. So when you have, like buttons on your back pockets or something, or a thicker belt on, the mesh prevents that from being like, dug into your hips. So it's the little things that add a lot of comfort.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks definitely comfy. The trophy line one I had was so comfortable. It really was.
Yeah, those things are classic. They were going for a high dollar on eBay at one time.
They were. Like when I ended up getting mine, trophy line I think was either just going out of business or it just did, and I was trying to find them, and you could not find them. And when you did, they were so expensive. And
they're going for like $400 or $500.
I know it. And the lucky part that I had is I grew up right here next to John Eberhardt, and so I got a hold of him, and he had a couple of them, and so I got mine and my wife's from him. So that kind of worked out good.
Yeah, he's definitely a legend in the saddle hunting community.
Yeah, he is for sure. That's all he's ever done is saddle hunting for the last 20 some years. Well, cool, man. Where can everybody find your stuff? Website and social media platforms. Where can everybody go?
Yeah, go to wildedgeinc.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Wild Edge Inc., Facebook, and we have a ton of videos on YouTube, anywhere from instructional videos to hunting videos. So anywhere on the social media platforms you can find us, or feel free to give us a call here at the shop.
Sweet, man. I appreciate you coming on and doing this, and we're doing it at lunchtime here, and and taking away your weekday. I appreciate you doing that, and we'll have to definitely get together again. And
yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, and definitely get those Kiefer brothers using the steps and the saddle.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep prodding at them, see if they'll do it. I know Casey really wants to try out the steps, so we'll get some in here and really start practicing with him, because he's big on the rapid rails, and I think this is a way better setup than the rapid rails for sure. So
yeah, he'll love them once he gets his hands on them.
Well, cool, man. Again, appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to do this again.
Awesome, appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Drew. And there it is, Drew Walter from Wild Edge Inc. Now, I'm telling you guys, this product is awesome. It is so easy to pack these things in and so easy to climb a tree. Now, it does take a little bit getting used to it, but they're so safe. I'm not kidding you. I don't know if anybody's ever used rapid rails or whatnot, but with rapid rails, sometimes when you put your weight on one side, they'll swing, because they don't have very good grip. These things, when you cam these things over, they are rock solid. They do not move. So I want to thank everybody for listening. And Drew and I are also in the process of either doing a giveaway or doing a promotional code. So in the next coming weeks, be looking out for that. Maybe we'll be giving away a set of these things so somebody can try these out. But I'm telling you, these things are the real deal, and you need to try them out. At least go look at them and see what they're all about. So again, thanks for listening. Appreciate all you guys and the support. Please go to iTunes, leave a review, and leave a rating. Those little stars on iTunes? Click the 5-star if you would, please. I appreciate it. And don't forget, next Wednesday, we got an all-new episode of the Fall Podcast.
I am natural.